At this point, I truly believe that it is our God given right to criticize Megan due to her poor business choices, poor life choices, and even just the way she mistreats people. So, in this video, I'm going to be dunking on Meghan Markle and her nothing burger of a show where she teaches us how to arrange our fruits into a rainbow and how to move snacks from one jar to another. This show feels like an empty shell, just like her. So I guess in a way it's kind of on brand for her. Let's just get into it. I've subject myself to this kind of pain so you guys don't have to. Watching this was like having a dementor suck the life out of my soul for 40 minutes straight, and I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. So the show starts off with Meghan and a man walking towards a bee box, and he explained, he looks like a professional. He looks like he's explained to her the process of extracting honey and all this kind of stuff and the bees, and then she's standing there like, oh my god, I'm so nervous, I'm so scared, as if it's her first time like seeing a bee box and not knowing what to expect. Hold on, I thought that you were experienced in beekeeping. I thought that this was your hobby, and now you're standing here like, I'm so nervous, oh my gosh, as if it's the first time you're doing this. Girl, fast forward, Meghan enters a house that's not really her house. And then she talks about how, oh, when she has guests over, she loves to prep their room and prep their snacks and prep all this stuff for them. So then she starts making a DIY bath salt for them so they can soak themselves when they come over, which I find kind of strange because it's like, do you really take a bath at someone else's home when you're just a guest? Like, I wouldn't personally do that. I would rather spend time with my friends, but I guess different strokes for different folks. So Meghan does this DIY bath salt. I watched a video from another YouTuber who explained that Meghan's process of doing that DIY bath salt is incorrect, to which she didn't really use a carrier oil, because essentially what she said is essential oils are so potent that it needs to be diluted with a carrier oil. I'll put the video up and you guys can watch it. She explains the ratio, she explains why it's so important, and all the important details about making your own bath salt. Clearly Meghan doesn't know what the fuck she's doing, because she just pulled something out of her ass and just decided to go along with it, and that could cause irritation to her guests, but she doesn't care. She then decides to make some snacks for her friend by putting a whole corn cob into, I think it's a specific type of corn cob that creates popcorn, because you can't do this with normal corn. She puts it in a paper bag and then puts it into the microwave. The kernels pop into popcorn. She then removes that, flavors it, puts it into a paper bag. And then I was thinking, why are you making popcorn hours in advance before your guest even arrives? Because popcorn goes stale quite quickly, from a matter of minutes to hours. So you don't want to be popping popcorn too early in advance and giving them stale popcorn. And then she gave us a life-changing tip, guys. And this is what she said. Don't tie a knot without a bow. What you don't want is to make it hard for your guest to get into it. Well, no shit, Sherlock. We all know how to tie a knot, Meghan. She talks to the audience as if we're kindergarten-aged children. And then she said, oh, all the energy was used into making that popcorn snack. So the next thing she's going to do for the next snack is move it from one bag to another. I kid you not, she literally said that. Woman, all you did was get a corn cob, put it into a paper bag, put it into a microwave and press start. Put a bit of salt and pepper on it. And yet here you are acting as if you just worked a 9-to-5 job. So now she moves some peanut snack from one bag to another. Just the thought of honestly moving items from one bag to another is just so unproductive and inefficient. For someone who preaches about looking after the environment, she sure loves to increase plastic pollution by creating more waste. She didn't have to take the snack out of its original packaging. The great thing about keeping it in its original packaging is, one, it doesn't become stale, because snack bags are filled with nitrogen gas to keep the food fresh, because the moment it's exposed to oxygen, that's when food becomes stale. And it's just so unappetizing as well. Like, if I was to give my guest some snacks, I would keep it in its original packaging. One, because they can see what they're eating and the nutritional labels and ingredients or anything if they have certain dietary requirements. But two, I don't want my guests to think that I'm giving them leftovers of what I didn't finish and therefore putting it into another plastic bag for them. Now, Meghan Markle's friend comes over. This friend of hers is also her makeup artist, and apparently he's been her makeup artist for years. And it looks like he is forced to be there against his own free will. I guess he's on payroll after all because, well, he's her makeup artist, and it doesn't look like Meghan can get anyone else to come over without having to pay them. But it also got me thinking, if you're the makeup artist, didn't you see her just like a few hours ago? Because someone had to do her makeup for the show. It's probably you. And now you're walking in pretending like, oh my gosh, Meghan, hi. I'm like, you're probably on set just standing there and pretending to walk through the door. She then offers him a sad looking platter of just cut up vegetables like carrots and some dips in the middle, like he's some kind of rabbit. And then she explains to him that she's going to cook him a meal. And it's called single skillet spaghetti, which is another way of saying, I'm too lazy to cook for you and I'm too lazy to clean, so you're going to be eating trash for dinner. And then she starts putting him to work as if he's one of her kitchen staff. Like he had to chop the vegetables. Like, can you just imagine having your guests come over and then put them to work to cook their own meal? Shouldn't you have this prepared in advance? Shouldn't you have the food ready so when your guest comes over, they don't have to cook their own meal? At this point, she might as well just give him instant noodles. At least that way, it's probably more tastier. And two, he doesn't have to cook. Clearly, she hasn't entertained before because you wouldn't really do this. You would always have food ready for the guest. But I really can't blame her because she doesn't really have any friends. So the friend of hers, his name is Daniel. She then shows Daniel's taste buds zero respect by throwing all her ingredients into a single pot like it's some kind of garbage disposal. Who needs enemies when you have friends like Meghan Markle? Meghan calls this dish a single skillet spaghetti, but I like to call it a struggle meal because this is what I eat when I can't be bothered cooking. I'm on a budget. I have some food in the fridge that's going to go off, or some ingredients in the food that's going to go off, and I'm just like, what can I do with this? I'll dump it into a pot, whatever, like call it a day. And I've seen this type of recipe, single pot spaghetti, on Martha Stewart's channel. So it's great for people who are just on the go, you just need something to eat. Is it edible? Yes. Would I serve it to my guests? Absolutely fucking not. It's a struggle meal. Why would I give my guests struggle meals? If I had a guest come over, I would put in the effort to make them a meal with love, with care, put hours into it because they deserve the best. I can eat a struggle meal, no problems. But I'm not going to give my guests that. Clearly someone like Meghan who has money could do better. Like, girl, do better. Meghan spent 90% of the time fluffing around, moving things from one bag to another, cutting up some carrots. Like, girl, you should have put more time into making them a better meal. She then proceeds to commit a hate crime against this poor old pasta dish by adding kale and then calling the spaghetti noodles, which all Italians watching this will probably be screaming at the screen saying, sacrilegious. I'm not Italian, but even I would be ashamed to serve this to my guests. Why don't you teach the audience how to make an authentic, rich passata sauce to use with your homemade, handmade pasta? That's something that will be very interesting to watch. But instead, she serves them slop, uninspiring, and just looks bland. This type of recipe will be great for a TikTok video, a YouTube short. You know, some people need a struggle meal in their life, you know, something that's quick and they can just come up with when they're just short on time. This is not worth a Netflix episode over. Like, aren't you supposed to show your culinary experience and skill? This will be the great opportunity to do that, and you just blew it. She gives him a portion enough to feed, you know, some ants. Like, who are you going to feed? Like, a child eats more than that. But who knows what's going on behind the scene. He's probably like, Meghan, just give me a tiny little bit. Just a little bit. Less than that. Woman, give me less. He's probably just trying not to eat it. Just pretends to eat it in front of the camera and be like, yum. Does this look like the face of someone who enjoyed their meal? I don't think so. He looked like he's just experienced some form of PTSD where he's trying to figure out a way to escape Meghan's house of horrors. The cogs in his brain's probably turning, like thinking, okay, how do I escape? And then like he's doing all these kind of like mathematical formulas in his head. The video cuts to her scraping some honey out of the bee box frame, collecting the honey, as if she's doing this for like the second time only. She's just like holding it awkwardly and she's like, oh, I'm doing it like how last time you showed me. I'm like, girl, again, aren't you experienced? Like, does this man come over to your house every single time you need to extract the honey out of the frame? I thought you were experienced. You acted like you were experienced. But the whole conversation between him and her was just so surface level. He was explaining to, the audience and to her about things about the honey, like just facts. And then she just goes, wow, oh my gosh, look at all that honey. Wow. Like that's the dialogue that you get out of Meghan, basically. Now, she then uses beeswax to then teach her friends and the audience how to make beeswax candle, to which she admits that she never even made it previously. So now it's just like the blind leading the blind. So the scene shows Meghan explain to her friend, oh, this is how you make candles. You have to heat the wax up to this temperature. And then I'm just sitting there thinking, she didn't really go into detail about anything, really. Look, I'm not a candle making expert, but I've made candles in the past, and it's a lot more than what people think it really is. Like, she ended up just dumping some essential oils into the melted beeswax, to which I'm thinking, what the heck? When you make your own candles, there's a lot you have to consider. You have to use a scale a lot. It's a lot of weighing things, making sure the measurements are right. And this all depends on things like the type of wax you're using, the type of oils you're using, because there's synthetic oils, there's natural essential oils. And then you got to take that into consideration when putting the mixture together and understanding there's a ratio and understanding that for this amount of wax, you need this amount of oils. And the reason why you want to do that is because when you're putting in essential oils, you don't want to be putting in too much oil, because when you do that, once you start lighting the candle, the oils and the wax begins to separate. And when that happens, it creates a layer of oil on the top of your candles, and that is flammable. That could be flammable and could be a fire hazard. And if you put too little fragrance in, what happens is that you don't get much of a scent throw, like you don't get anything. So it's important for her to understand that and explain that to the audience. Even just things like the wick that you use, you have to use a specific size depending on the wax holder that you're using. But what would I know? I'm just a mere plebeian. Meghan has been sent down from the high heavens to spread her knowledge and wisdom to us mere mortals, because she is Jesus reincarnated. Back to watching Meghan cook and hating every minute of it. She makes this sponge cake, and I believe it's kind of like a lemon honey sponge cake filled with cream and jam. Nothing special, it's just a sponge cake. And then she makes a tea to accompany this cake. And this tea is like a honey, ginger, lemon tea with some cayenne pepper. I don't want to call it tea because I don't think she even put any tea leaves in. She just mixed a whole bunch of ingredients together and calls it tea, which is not really a tea. We've all had this when we were sick. Let's be real here. This is nothing new. She didn't invent anything new. We've had this before. The show then ends with her and her friend sitting down, having tea and the cake, and in front of this beautiful view of a mountain. The friend jokes to Meghan, says, oh, this feels so fake. And Meghan goes, oh, it's not a green screen. And then she laughs at her own joke as if it's so funny and as if she is the laugh track so everyone else can laugh along with her. And we're like, no, babes, no, you're not that funny. She's not charismatic in the slightest. She doesn't have a humorous bone in her body. She can't make a joke that actually lands. To sum up, if you're a guest of Meghan Markle, what you'll get is stale snacks, struggle meal. Your skin will probably be burnt off. What else? Oh, and you'll be put to work. I think prisoners get treated better than a guest at Meghan's house at this point. Meghan doesn't know shit, and she acts as if she knows everything. She's like the jack of all trades, but she's the master of none. Like, cooking shows are so outdated now, and you have to be really entertaining, or you have to be very highly skilled. And because being highly skilled is a form of entertainment as well. Like, it's very entertaining to watch someone who's really skilled. But Meghan is neither. She doesn't know how to cook, nor is she entertaining. Everything just comes off so dry and bland with her, like her personality. Her personality is as dull as ditch water. And yet she thinks that she's Gordon Ramsay, because I remember reading in Tom Bell's book, she goes, oh, I want to be a TV chef like Gordon Ramsay. I'm sorry, but Gordon Ramsay worked in the kitchen before. He has multiple restaurants where they received Michelin stars, and you made someone a struggle meal. The conversations between her and her guests it's just so dull. It's like pulling teeth. And she doesn't say anything of substance. She might as well just not have them there and just talk to herself. It would probably give the same effect. And then she does this little giggle, like little fake laugh at the end, like as if it's to encourage people to laugh because she's not that funny. Overall, I learned fuck all from Meghan's cooking show. Nothing that I can't Google myself anyways. She tries to cram too much into the show without giving us much of anything. Had she removed the candle making thing, had she removed the whole, moving snacks from one bag to another, had she removed those sections out of the show and just focused on giving us a section where she actually cooks and does a really great meal and gives us great tips. But in the end, she's giving us like 5-minute clips of bleh. Anyway, let's see if I can subject myself to another 40 minutes of pain in the next episode. I've had tea during, before, and after watching it because I'm trying to stay sober. I want to be healthy. But next episode, I feel like I need tequila, or maybe some bleach. But I hope that watching the next episode, maybe you guys can have a glass of wine with me. But I hope that was entertaining. Take care and see ya.